Good morning. Thanks for joining us again. And as you might have seen from another video, we're in southern Spain at the moment, in La Alpujarra, and this is just a short breakfast walk. Really, we're setting off early because the temperatures are already getting up into the low 30s. It was 30 yesterday and supposed to be higher today. So we're setting off early, just doing a short walk of about 3 miles and then dropping back down to finish up a little breakfast stop.
No beer.
No
Too
beer.
early for beer.
Too early for beer, yeah. So the walk starts in the village of Valor, which is about 850 metres above sea level, and the first stretch is along just a little road leading up to the village of Nechite, and I don't know exactly how high that is. If I can find out, I'll flash it up on the screen, but it's about a climb of about 100 metres or so, and then we cut back across farmland on the actual the GR7 long distance footpath, and that runs for I don't know how many miles, but I'll flash that up on the screen as well, right across Spain, and then eventually we just start to drop down back into the village again. So it's a lovely time of year. There should be loads of wildflowers about, and a few other little bits and pieces to show you, so stick along and see what we find along the way. These embalsers or balsas, water stores for the irrigation of the farmland around, and they're an absolute magnet for wildlife. This one's absolutely full of algae at the moment. I've not seen it like that before. Whether that's an indication of higher temperatures, but as I say, yeah, you see snakes and frogs, and there's fish in here. And also it's a magnet for visitor. It's a magnet for dragonflies and damselflies, so yeah, great little wildlife resources they are. The whole of the countryside is full of wildflowers at the moment. There's a lot of these sort of vetches that look like sweet peas. Must be loads of different species of them. They're quite difficult to identify, far beyond my skills, but our friend's back again. Yeah, the whole countryside at the moment is just absolutely full of wildflowers. It's really spectacular. A nice convenient bench to have a rest. Actually, I think it's something to stop cars driving over the cliff, but it's a good place to sit. And the village of Alpujarras is just down behind us. And yeah, you got the views open up right down to Alpujarra, another village, larger village down here, and then over the Contraviesa range. And the whole of this area has got a really rich ancient history. It was the last bastion of the Moors after the reconquest of Spain, and I think they were kind of given a lease of the Alpujarra for, I think, 100 years, if I've got it correctly. And then when the lease ran out, they kind of liked it here because it is lovely, and they didn't want to leave, so it led to some fierce battles between the Moors and the Christians, and they're celebrated or commemorated each year quite sympathetically, really. You know, it's not kind of a triumphalist sort of Christian thing. It's a great spectacle. And one of the fiestas is down in the village of Valor, just where we've climbed up from, and yeah, it really is something to see. A real noisy battle right in the village square. Nechite just coming into view now with its little church, and it's quite pleasant, isn't it? But still a climb, so I've still worked up a sweat. It's good country for bird watching around here. You can probably hear the slightly sort of frenzied calls of serins all around. Probably one of the more common birds around here, but common or not, every time I get the big camera out to try and capture one, they do one. So you'll have to put up with the song for now unless I get lucky later on. Just entering the village of Nechite now, and these houses to the left have caught the full brunt of the recent Sahara dust storm. Would have been white at one stage, but now a nice shade of terracotta. Nechite is a pretty small village, and there's only a handful of inhabitants really now. And yeah, not that many inhabitants now, but one little old lady just saw me videoing and called me over to ask where we were and who we were and did we live here, and so she knew the people who owned our house, even though we've had it 17 years, and yeah, because they all know each other, so we had a little chat. Spanish, it's very difficult to understand the dialect here, but I could get quite a lot of what she said actually for a change, so yeah, that was fun. But can't remember where I was up to. Yes, there's no real facilities in the village. There's a little doctor's surgery, the church. There is one little bar, but if you visit and you don't get a warm welcome, don't take it personally. It's not really an official bar, so they reserve entrance for the locals really. So unless you know somebody here who you can go in with and then they'll recognise you, you're probably better off bringing your own refreshments. Yeah, so they put a new GR7 board up there. It says Nechite is 1,022 metres above sea level. So we climbed about 70 metres or so up from Valor. And we're just proceeding along now. Just a section of that GR7 path. And it goes along the water channels or acequias all the way across the top, and then we hit a little side road to take us back down to Valor. Yeah, we're just having a little sit on the wall of the acequia, just out above the church and the little old cemetery just down below us. Fantastic view out. Just a bit further along you can actually, on a clear day, it's a little bit hazy today, you can actually see right out to sea. You can just see the ships going along, and sort of looks like they're flying sometimes. But yeah, you've got to keep your wits about you, because if you sit for too long here, you'll get attacked by ants. They're everywhere. This area is famous for its sweet chestnut trees, and some really huge ancient ones dotted around. You see them in winter, you'd never think that they'd come back to life again. They look kind of so old that they're dead, but sure enough they spring back to life again. And great time to be here is autumn, where they're all absolutely loaded with sweet chestnuts, and people come down collecting them, and with their really thick leather gloves, and roast them and do all sorts of stuff with them. I used to like them, but I've quite acquired a taste for them now. You can hear golden oriole, not seen it yet. It's, for a bird that's sort of like bright yellow, they are masters of disguise. As soon as they disappear into a tree, that's it, they just blend in perfectly. This next old Castagno definitely has bit the bullet. No life in this old one. All along here you've got these networks of acequias all over the countryside, and if I'm not mistaken, these might have been originally instigated by the Moors, and then they've been gradually updated over the years. But they're, some parts of the day they're dry, and then others will spring to life. And there's a whole set of rules about who gets water when, and if your time is 2 o'clock in the morning as a farmer, you've got to come up here and redivert the water to your own land, and there's all sorts of battles and feuds over it. But yeah, very precious commodity up here is water. Absolutely wonderful up here, absolutely carpeted with wildflowers. Not even begun to try identifying them, I'm bad enough in the UK. But yeah, wonderful. And then behind us, views down over Uhica, up over the country Viesa, and in that gap in the middle is where you can normally see the sea. Beautiful. From this point you can see down to La Haraya, which is the bottom end of Valor, and that's where the house is, and across all the carved out little valleys in the it's kind of a shale or gritstone, no, not gritstone, sorry, it's kind of a shale or mudstone that the landscape's made up of around here, and it's very unstable. It gets torrential rains will carve new valleys and all of that sort of thing, like, and wash great chunks of it down into the road, Right, we just emerged from the fields now, and we're just heading down the road to pop out near the bar El Puente, and that'll be where we say ta-ra. So yeah, the whole walk's probably door to door about 3 miles for us, and maybe a bit less if you just went from the front of the El Puente. But hope you'll agree, certainly at this time of year, with all the wildflowers, absolutely beautiful little walk for the morning. So anyway, if you've watched this far, thank you very much, and if you wouldn't mind doing the honours and giving it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and if you're new here, maybe you'd consider subscribing. But either way, thanks very much for watching, and we might bring you back and say cheers over our breakfast, but it'll depend on who's sitting outside the bar, because probably a bit self-conscious of filming that. But anyway, thanks for watching. See you very soon. Bye.